Hey there, welcome to Dead End Street. I'm Al. This week we're going to take a look at the 15 Depeche Mode albums after doing the review on the new Depeche Mode record, Momento Mori, last week. We promised that we would do the ranking of the albums from worst to first. So that's what we're going to get started on now. I'm a longtime Depeche Mode fan. I know most of these albums inside and out, but it was interesting to go through and listen to some of the ones I hadn't heard in a while and some of the newer ones that I don't know very well. So here we go. Let's get started. Number 15 is going to be 2017's Spirit. It was the album previous to the current one. This album sounds like a band who were more concerned with getting an opinion across or a message than they actually were with writing songs, because it doesn't sound like there's any hooks here or anything memorable. This is not generally what Depeche Mode fans are looking for from Depeche Mode. So let's kind of leave that to you too. Why don't we? Number 14 is going to be the debut album from 1981, Speak and Spell. This one's it's a lot different. This album was written by founding member Vince Clarke, who left the band immediately after this album was made. He went on to form Yazoo and later on Erasure, both bands that I do like. I do like Yazoo a bit more than Erasure, truth be told. But I do not care for most of the songs on here. I think they're just too bland, too goofy, too primitive, especially stuff like What's Your Name, New Life, Dreaming of Me, Tora Tora Tora. I gotta be honest with you, I don't even really like. I just can't get enough. It kind of irks me. It always did. I haven't listened to this album in about 30 years, and I kind of remember why now. Puppets was a pretty good song, remember. Still kind of like that one. The rest of the album, I just kind of give that one a 5 out of 10. Number 14, Speak and Spell. Number 13 is going to be 2001's Exciter. This album sees the band going in a little bit more of a exploratory area, which isn't bad. However, it kind of mixed results here. The opening track, Dream On, was the lead single. A very good song. Has like a tumbling drum beat with some acoustic guitar work from Martin, and a real nice vocal harmonies between Dave and Martin throughout. Dave Gahan, Martin Gore, in case you didn't know. Some songs are a little ambitious, kind of real atmospheric, but tend to meander and go on too long. I Feel Love was pretty cool, but just too many low-key songs, not enough variety to keep most people's interest, I don't think. So I went with 5.5 on this one. Number 13, Exciter. Number 12 is going to be Sounds of the Universe from 2009. Another little mixed bag. In Chains is a pretty decent. It was the opener. It's not bad, but it's just too long. It's about 7 minutes long. It's just kind of hard to keep your attention. In Sympathy is pretty good. Miles Away has a nice little sleazy guitar going on in it. Stands out. It's different from the rest of the album. Way too much of the same mid-tempo, just like the last album. Sounds like they were headed in a pretty cool direction, I thought, with the album before this one. We'll get to that in a minute. But I think this one is kind of like Exciter. It's kind of the same, too much of the same feel throughout. So I gave this one also a 5.5. Number 12, Sounds of the Universe. And number 11, I'm going to go with Delta Machine from 2013. There's a couple of good songs on this one, not a ton. Broken is a nice track. Soft Touch / Raw Nerve stands out. It's kind of a more upbeat. Alone is a good song. It seems like the album starts out slow to me, and as the album goes on, especially towards the back end, last 4 or 5 songs, it gets much better, which is kind of odd for an album. I think usually the better songs are up front. I think Soothe My Soul, which was one of the singles off the album, is definitely one of the best songs from this 2000s era Depeche Mode going on there. It's real sensual, memorable, great hook. But I'm going with 6.5 here out of 10 for Delta Machine by Depeche Mode, number 11. At number 10, we're going to go with Construction Time Again from 1983. This is the band's first foray kind of to the charts here in the States. They had a minor hit with Everything Counts. I liked this album a lot more when I was younger. For some reason, it just didn't strike a chord with me as much this time. I was kind of surprised. Love in Itself, the album opener, is still great. I still like that one a lot. But I don't know. It kind of has like a little bit of that goofiness still going on. That was kind of going on with Speaking Still. Martin Gore's the songwriter now after that, and he's kind of still trying to find his feet. There's still some good stuff on it. I like Pipeline. I thought that was a pretty good song. The album closer and then I like. But everything else in between is kind of a mixed bag. I still do. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10 because I'll still come back to those couple of songs. But it's just like for Everything Counts did not age well for me. I haven't heard it in a while, and I'm surprised how much it kind of irked me. I don't know what's up with that. But 6 out of 10. Number 10, Construction Time Again. And number 9, I went with Playing the Angel from 2005. I thought there was some pretty good songs on this one. Step Up, I think, from the one before that, Exciter. The Pain I'm Used To is a good table setter, starts the album out. John the Revelator, real big sounding. Precious is on the edge of excellent. It sits right there. I like it a lot, but it's just something that it just doesn't get there. It almost gets there, doesn't get there, but it is a good song. The Martin songs don't stand out. The Martin song ones don't stand out as much on this album as they, sometimes do. Lillian is an upbeat, catchy song. Dark Star, not bad. Too long. He's kind of in a recurring theme here. Some of these later era albums, but it is better than Exciter, and I will go with a 6.5 out of 10 on this one. Number 9, Playing the Angel. Number 8 is 1982's A Broken Frame. This is the first album after Vince Clarke bails, and Martin Gore is forced to step up as the lead songwriter of the group, which he still is to this day. You get some glimpses of where Depeche Mode was going to go in the future, which is kind of cool. Some of the songs on there are still a little bit primitive, but there are some darker, moodier moments that you would get to become familiar with Depeche Mode, especially Leave in Silence, which is one of my favorite songs from the early Depeche Mode era. Straight to the point, great moody synth pop feel to that one. The album closer, The Sun and the Rainfall, is another good one. But again, there's kind of like these two songs bookend the album, and there's some kind of good songs and some in the middle there. But I went with gave this one a 6.5 also. I do think that this was a little better than Construction Time Again for some reason. I think it just because it's a little bit more moody. I related to it a little bit more. But at number 8, Depeche Mode's Broken Frame. And number 7 is going to be Ultra, which was from 1997 or 8. I think it was 1997. You can double check me if you want. But this is the first one after Alan Wilder leaves, so they're back down to a trio. There's some really good songs on here. There's some really long songs on here, some really atmospheric songs on here. Kind of a mixed bag again. But the good ones are really good, like Barrel of a Gun, Home, It's No Good. It's No Good is great. Useless is a good one. Free State has some kind of cool guitar sounds, but I think it's almost like 7 or 8 minutes long or something like that. Too much. Couple songs too long. Too many mid-tempo atmospheric tracks. Again, this album clocks in at over an hour. Kind of a problem with a lot of albums that came out in the late 90s with this CD era. Everyone they had to fill the entire CD with songs rather than just stick with the best ones. But another 6.5 out of 10 record for Ultra, number 7. And number 6 is going to be 1984's Some Great Reward. This one is one of the first ones that I became familiar with when I was younger. Some of the ones on there that I really liked a lot seem a bit goofy now. They're not bad. I just feel like they haven't aged as well as I thought they would. Ones like Something to Do and Master and Servant and People Are People. People Are People, I think, was a top 40 hit for them here in the States. And I think it speaks volumes as to what Dave and Martin think about the song, because they don't perform it live, even though there's a big hit here. They have plenty of other bigger hits, but it just goes, to me, that just tells me everything I need to know what they think about the song. But there are some really good highlights on this album, like Lie to Me. Great synth pop track, good catchy stuff. I love it. Reminds me of 1984 all over again, 1985, 86, that era there. Blasphemous Rumors is probably where they got the moniker Depeche Mode. Really dark song, coupled with this kind of tinty synth pop and industrial sounds with like cans falling down the steps and stuff. But I think that one holds up. I still think that one's a great song. Somebody is one of Martin's best ballads. Still awesome. But I do think it's the album tracks, the deep cuts, that survived the test of time on this one. Not so much the singles. Lie to Me, Stories of Old, If You Want, are some of the better songs on the album. But I'm still going to go with a 7 on this album because I like the album track so much, and I do hold some sort of nostalgic value to some ones that I don't necessarily feel so much for. So number 6, Some Great Reward. At number 5, I put Memento Mori, the new Depeche Mode album. I think this is a great return to form record. Return to form. Everyone's new albums to return to form, but this one I think really is. There's a lot of reflection going on in the album. It's the first album after they lost Andy Fletcher, founding member who passed away before the making of the album. I think the lead-off single from this album, Ghosts Again, is one of the best, not just of this era. I think it's one of the best Depeche Mode songs. I think it's really great. It speaks to where Depeche Mode fans are now, especially the ones who kind of grew up with Depeche Mode like I did, and it's an instant classic. There's some other really good tracks on here. There's not any bad songs on here, but the good ones are really good, and the ones that aren't great aren't necessarily bad at all. If you want to hear more about my opinions on Memento Mori, check out my review that I did on it last week. It's already been posted, but I'm going to a good solid 7.5 for Memento Mori at number 5. At number 4 is going to be 1987's Music from the Masses, Music for the Masses. I'm surprised at how well this album holds up. For some reason, I was expecting it to sound out of date, kind of like Some Great Reward, but the production on this album, especially for this day and age, 1987-ish, great. I mean, this drums sound huge. All the little production tricks and sounds that they put in there don't sound goofy. The singles on here are some of the best Depeche Mode songs they ever did. Never Let Me Down Again, Strange Love, Behind the Wheel, Little 15, amongst others. I do have to say that singles are the best songs in the album. The other stuff on there isn't awesome. But those 4 songs alone, plus a couple of other of the album tracks, which puts you at probably about 7 good songs, 8. I thought it was just so good. I was surprised at how much it said. There was a 5-minute instrumental on there we could have did without. Could have made the album a little bit more solid. but those singles are so damn good, so good. I go with a solid 8 for Music for the Masses at number 4. At number 3 is going to be Violator, the most known album probably, especially here in the States for Depeche Mode. Has probably the most known songs. Enjoy the Silence and Personal Jesus. I probably don't need to hear Personal Jesus much more in my life. Although I do appreciate hearing them do it live. It does kick up a notch when they play it live. Enjoy the Silence, I don't ever really get tired of. It's a great track. Some of the other singles on there were World of My Eyes, Policy of Truth, both awesome tracks. And it has I think one of Depeche Mode's most overlooked tracks on this album is a song called Halo. I love this song. It's got to be a top 5 Depeche Mode song for me. The huge drums, the huge swagger in the song, great hook, great vocal delivery by Dave. I just think I'm shocked that it's not a bigger hit compared to some of the songs that were. Some excellent deep tracks on this album too, especially like Waiting for the Night and My Sweetest Perfection. When I was younger, the spiteful me probably would have put this album lower just because it's the most popular and I wouldn't want to be, I have to be contrarian. Listen to it now, there's no mistaking. It's a classic. It's a great album. It's definitely a 9. There's no bad songs on it. There's a reason why it's sold. That's the reason why it was so popular. So I'm going with Violator at number 3 and giving it a 9 out of 10. At number 2, I had a very hard time deciding which one of these was going to be number 1 and which one was going to be number 2. I had to pick one to go to number 2. So number 2, I'm going with Black Celebration, which going into this, I thought was probably going to be my number 1 still, but maybe I didn't. I knew it was going to be a toss-up. Either way, this is a great album. I think this is where Depeche Mode arrives. This is where Depeche Mode becomes Depeche Mode. The Depeche Mode that everyone knows and fills stadiums and sells millions of records. It's a rock solid record. Are no bad songs. Black Celebration, Fly on the Windscreen, Question of Lust, Question of Time, Stripped. Amazing song. And what else? New Dress. Princess dies wearing a new dress. There's no doubt they're all classics. My only complaint with the record is that there's a little bit too much Martin going on. I prefer Dave, but that's nitpicking. It's a great album. I would have to say that the song sequencing's right, the production's right. It's dark, it's miserable, it's great. Number 2, 9 out of 10, Black Celebration. So that means number 1 is going to be 1993's Songs of Faith and Devotion. This, I think, has been my favorite Depeche Mode album, probably since it came out in 93. It's always been a toss-up, but I think deep down, this one was always my favorite. It's dark. It's real dark. You can hear the desperation in some of the songs, the pleading for happiness, pleading for direction. The production on this album is flawless, which is odd for an early 90s record. It opens with I Feel You, which is probably their hardest rocking song. And then after that, the bluster completely fades and the strife begins. Because the next track is Walking in My Shoes, which is it's just a perfect song to me. Great lyrically, great musically. Dave's vocal delivery is excellent. Followed by Condemnation, which is a little bit of has a gospel feel to it, a spirituality going on, back of a gospel singers in the background, or just layered vocals from Martin. I don't know, but it sounds great. Rush, The massive, filthy song. Every time it comes on, I still turn it up. One Caress might be Martin's best song, I think. Martin with strings and that ominous cello is just awesome. Higher Love is the album closer, which was the show opener on that tour. I think it was the first time I saw them. It was on the Faith and Devotion tour. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was because because Dave had the long hair and the facial hair, and then the curtain dropped and he was doing his thing. Is he not a great front man or what? What a great front man. And and Alan Wilder. When did he become a drummer? What happened? I mean, he's beating the hell out of these drums in this album. Sounds great. But Songs of Faith and Devotion, oh God, I can't move on without talking about In Your Room, which I don't know if I ever do a top Depeche Mode songs I want to give away, it's going to be up top somewhere, In Your Room. The album version is great, but there's a remixed version, which is it comes as a bonus track on the extended version. I remember it because I had it on 12-inch, and that's how I got to hear it for the first time. And also, I think it was the version they used in the video. So that helps out if you know what I'm talking about. I think it's the Butch Vig remix, if I'm not mistaken. Lots of like really screechy sounds going on in the background and really just helps deliver the song perfectly. Such a great song. I love it. But Songs of Faith and Devotion, I'm giving a 9 out of 10. I probably would have given it a 10 if it wasn't for Judas Kiss or Judas or whatever it's called, Judas. Wasn't still not crazy about that track, but I mean 9 out of 10. What the hell? What a great album. Depeche Mode, Songs of Faith and Devotion, #1. So let us know what you think. That's it. Let us know let me know in the comments. Am I crazy? Am I close? If you like what you see, subscribe, like the video, hit the bell for notifications. Check out some of our previous videos, like the review for Memento Mori, the new Depeche Mode album, and we're going to have plenty of stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks. So check us out. Till next time, see ya.